awkward because it's what we do, but it takes all of your energies. I mean, like, we're spent. Like, if there's 2 storms in a week or back to back weeks with storm after storm, the team is fried.
I guess weather crazy is a good term in my book because people, I think, here do appreciate weather. If you're going to live in this climate with 4 distinct seasons, you have to like pulling the sweaters back out of the closet and, wearing my flip-flops and, changing the closet around, changing your lifestyle around so many different times for the year. So you have to be up for that. And so I think New Englanders tend to be people who are outdoorsy, or they end up moving further south. My family lived in Maryland, and one sunny June day, a tornado ripped through my apartment complex. And my mom was born in the Midwest, so she grew up in Tornado Alley. And she recognized the pea green sky and all the signs and started yelling, tornado, tornado. And I was in the bathtub at the time, and the lights were flicking on and off, and I thought my dad was playing a trick on me. And I was like, Dad, cut it out. And I jumped out of the tub, ran into the living room, and our living room was all windows facing sort of a little courtyard. We were the bottom apartment in a big apartment building. And I just remember thinking, I was so young at the time, and I thought, why is the ocean here? Because we drive to the ocean, and now it looks like the ocean is right outside. And then it was gone. And so it was my big wheel. And a lot of my toys that were outside had been sucked up and taken away by the tornado. But my parents and I were the first people on the scene, helping people who were flipped over in their vehicles, or removing debris and stuff like that. So that, I think, was a very formative experience early on, and I was always searching the skies after that. If that could come out of nowhere, just from a dark sky, what's next? Ithaca College had like their own little local cable station. And so as part of our degree at Cornell, we had to go and provide weather forecasts for them on TV, and I was horrible. And it really bothered me. You study for an exam, you get a good grade, and I was just I had huge 1980s hair, blocked a lot of the graphics out. And I was so scared, I was really nervous. I would point like this, I couldn't even really move. I was like a robot, so it just bothered me that I couldn't do it better. And so I just thought, if I could just get this right, then I can move on to something else. And I'm still trying to get it right, so here I am, still doing the same thing. I think that one of the reasons that New England has a reputation is that we have a very large metropolitan population around the city of Boston, and we do get every extreme here. We have hurricanes that come up the coast. We have explosive nor'easters that develop and produce heavy snow. We have a coastline that's very vulnerable to beach erosion and tidal fluxes. And we get tornadoes. One of the deadliest tornadoes in U.S. history happened in Worcester. We get every extreme. My most memorable forecast is probably the day before Hurricane Bob, just as I got out of college. It was one of my first big forecasts. And about 30 seconds before I went on the air, the producer got in my ear and said, we have a roof collapse in Stratham Hill Park, and there is a group of special needs students there, and people are crushed under this building. And I was crushed. I just remember thinking, weather was interesting and fascinating to me, and suddenly it was life or death. And I just remember in that moment, it was just maturity in a second. So I think that was very memorable to me because it, shook me out of my youthful stupor and, weather awe to realize really the impact that my job could have, and, how I really had to work hard to serve the community well. So I'll never forget that. The other one was probably the blizzard of '97. That was April 1st, 1997. That was a big storm. We had 25.4 inches of snow, and I was doing the morning shift the next day. And so I started out from Cambridge, which isn't far from our broadcast offices in Boston. And I have underground parking, and the door raised up. It's like 2:30 in the morning. The door raised up, and there was like 3 feet of snow in front of me. I'm in a suit. I have to get to work. So I had an intern with me, and I turned. As we were sitting in the vehicle, I looked at her and I said, buckle up, we're going for it. And so I just backed up and revved up the car and hit that snowbank full speed. We landed with like a thud on the other side of it, caught air. And that was just the beginning of the most harrowing drive of my life. There were, cars blocking roads. We had to remove trees that had fallen down. I rode the sidewalk over the Longfellow Bridge to get across it because there was just like 50 taxis stuck there. So just getting to work was a challenge. I'll never forget that. Climate change is a fascinating topic to me, and I spend a great deal of my professional life engaged in that study and trying to engage people in the dialogue of our evolving climate. I think right now we're in a unique period where climate and environment have become synonymous, and so the environmental movement has been spurred along by the dialogue that's happening around climate change. Climate is always changing, and since the beginning of human civilization, our species has been adapting to climate change. It was actually the driver for us coming out of Africa, according to recent research. It's the reason that our peoples have populated the world. The ebb and flow of the glaciers has always influenced us, and our skin color, just by the nature of the amount of sunshine that fell on different parts of the globe, created different skin tones. So it's always been a part of our lives, and climate has always been changing. I think that it's always important to be a good steward of our environment and our planet. But when it comes to climate, I feel like there's a lot more questions than answers that I have. And I think that there are brilliant minds that are on this problem, this great scientific debate of our day. So flexibility is really important in science because ongoing discoveries are always going to change and tweak and better or muddle your understanding of the climate.